As we discussed last time, the internet is a fertile breeding ground for all things legendary. Stories get told, assumptions get validated, fake news gets spread, and it's all available for everyone to see, and screenshot, and share. While there is more information out there than ever before, so much of it is bunk. It's a miracle we learn anything at all. Thank goodness for fact checkers and passionate people, right? Always standing by to lay the real facts out for folks who may not have it straight. A lot of those fact checkers in the comments, and I am eternally grateful. Sometimes the facts do get checked, but the urban legends remain scary. There are spooky stories that transcend truth and fiction and just become part of the conversation at large. Hello horror heads, and welcome back to the scariest channel on YouTube, Top 5 Scary Videos. I'm your horror host, Keegan Hughes, and today we're going to be counting down the top 5 scary internet urban legends, part 2. Before we get started, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe for more mass appeal atrocities. Perfect, let's begin. Coming in at number 5, we have the Cannibal Babysitter. Like most great urban legends, this is a tale that has been adapted for many different audiences. Back before the inception of the internet, a similar tale was told of a babysitter who may have been drunk, may have been high, but definitely accidentally cooked a baby instead of a meal. Whoops. It plays on the classic parental fear of leaving your child with someone else. Sure, you'd like to put your trust in someone and have some time to yourself, but how do you really know what's happening if you're not there yourself? Imagine coming home to a sink full of greasy bones and a lunatic babysitter lounging on your couch. Yeah, those aren't chicken bones, are they? To modernize this tale, the World News Daily Report put out an article headlined, "Missouri, Babysitter on Crystal Meth Eats 3-month-old Toddler." This is a masterpiece of a shareable article. Parents, people who hate addicts, people who watch horror movies, and Missourians all have a reason to be invested here. Is Missourians a real word? The article details a couple coming home after a night out to find their babysitter drunk and high, covered in blood. Not a good scene. They head to the kitchen and discover something even more terrifying. Their baby in the microwave, covered in barbecue sauce. How anyone could read this and not think it's a joke is beyond me. But apparently it was effective enough to cause a small panic and spread to all sorts of places. Unfortunately for those who skim headlines, it was all a hoax. The World News Daily Report is a fake news site. Not quite parody, but definitely not to be taken seriously. They even put a little disclaimer at the bottom saying that they're not including any reality in their articles. Although I suppose people fooled by this don't often read all the way to the bottom though. Coming in at number 4, what's in my Red Bull? We all know that energy drinks are often under fire for including artificial stimulants. They'll rot your brain, teeth, gut, and hardwood flooring, or so I've been told. Remember that lady who had the whole science fair presentation on why Monster Energy drink is actually the mark of the devil? 666? Good times. Well, if you wanted to scare the crap out of vegans, cowboys, and generally anybody who doesn't want to unknowingly ingest reproductive fluids, you could tell them about this urban legend. Somehow, the rumor that Red Bull includes bull semen in their beverages took off. You see, Red Bull has taurine. This is an organic acid which is actually often found in infant milk formulas. If we dive a little deeper into this word taurine, we'll find a couple of things. 1, tor is a Greek or Latin root for bull. Still with me? The second half, "ine," something derived from a bull, eh? Understandably, people thought of this and immediately came to the conclusion that taurine is something made by a bull, which is actually supported by the fact that it was originally isolated from ox bile, although these days we know that it's found in many more animals, including humans. But back to the stuff made from bulls, people heard taurine and then saw that big red bull on the front of the can and thought, geez, what are they taking from bulls? This stuff that gives you energy? Makes you feel alive? Are the good folks at Red Bull feeding us vital essence from bulls? Ew. Once this conclusion was made, it spread like wildfire. In fact, it became such a popular theory that Red Bull had to address it on their website. If you visit it and look at the FAQ, you can find a Q&A pertaining to the idea of testicles in your drink. Q. Is taurine made from bull's testicles? Is taurine a derivative of bull's testicles or semen? A. The taurine in Red Bull energy drink is a purely synthetic substance produced by pharmaceutical companies and is not derived from animals or animal materials. All ingredients for Red Bull energy drinks are synthetically produced by pharmaceutical companies. This guarantees the highest quality. So there you have it. No need to worry about any funny business in your Red Bull. Just try not to drink too much in celebration. Coming in at number 3, we have HIV Oranges. On the topic of unwanted bodily fluids in our foods and beverages, let's consider the curious case of the contaminated citrus. In February of 2015, somebody posted an image of sliced oranges on Facebook. The oranges had little bits of red coloration in them, and they were not blood oranges. Or were they? According to the poster, the oranges had come from Libya and were seized in Algeria on the grounds that they had been injected with HIV-positive blood. The post read, "The immigration services of Algeria recovered a large quantity of these oranges coming from Libya. These oranges were injected with positive tested HIV and AIDS blood. Please share this message and warn people of the dangers involved." I mean, if the wording of that message doesn't convince you someone put their blood in oranges, I don't know what will. The image was found all over the place after that, with people either being really skeptical of the bloody fruit or having absolute freak-out meltdowns. Regardless of the reaction, there's no real threat here. Firstly, it's obviously a hoax based on the baselessness of the claims and the lack of official language in the original post. Somebody just decided that oranges coming from Africa must have some sort of HIV risk involved, as weird xenophobic people tend to do. Secondly, there is no threat of HIV transfer either way. HIV can't be transferred via fruit. The rare cases where HIV has been transferred via foods happens when food is pre-chewed by an HIV-infected caregiver. And these oranges, not pre-chewed. You can't get HIV from consuming food handled by an HIV-positive person. Even if it did contain small amounts of blood, which it likely doesn't, the virus would be destroyed by exposure to air, heat, or stomach acid. And who would put blood in an entire shipment's worth of oranges anyways? Coming in at number 2, we have Obamacare Microchips. What a fun pairing of words, am I right? Back when Obamacare was first being introduced, people spread rumors that US residents would be required to be implanted with RFID microchips. Because, you know, Obama, I guess. But rumors of Big Brother wanting you riddled with tracking devices have been around since that kind of technology was first dreamed up. Folks are always worried that the government's going to tie them down and staple a blinking sensor into your spine or something. The Obamacare microchip legend began with some real documentation though. However, there were two things wrong with the rumor. One, it was taken from an outdated piece of tabled legislation that never passed, and two, the legislation they were looking at was misread and misinterpreted. See, someone pulled the phrase, "This sort of device be implanted in the majority of people who opt to become covered by the public healthcare option" out of some healthcare legislation in 2010. This particular passage was used as damning evidence that Obama wanted to track every citizen come hell or high water. However, this sentence was from an earlier version of legislation that wasn't passed by Congress. And if you're worried that Congress attempted to pass some bills that mandated microchips for every American, fret not. It was actually referring to a healthcare registry that would allow the Department of Health and Human Services to collect data about medical devices like pacemakers and hip replacements. It was meant to help track effectiveness and facilitate the distribution of manufacturer recall notices. No microchips necessary. It makes sense that people are scared of having their every move tracked though. There's something ironic about that crowd sharing these theories on Facebook for iOS though. And finally at number 1, Charlie Charlie. A sort of modernized Bloody Mary, Charlie Charlie was a spirit summoning game for the online era. In 2015, the Charlie Charlie challenge blew up. Videos of kids putting 2 pencils on a piece of paper labeled yes and no were everywhere. Apparently, if done correctly, you could get a demon or ghost to answer simple questions. The origins of said demon or ghost varied widely depending on who you asked. Some said it was a Mexican spirit, and others said it was a child who was abused. Earlier tellings of the story seemed to favor the child, which in retrospect makes sense. What kind of Mexican ghost has the name Charlie? Carlos, maybe, but there's no Spanish history in the name Charles. Regardless of the ghost's backstory, it scared a whole lot of people. Most of the movement in the pencils could probably be attributed to gravity in the wind, or the nervous shaking and breathing of whoever set it up, but folks really thought there was a demon in their presence. To double down on the urban legenditude, it was also claimed that Charlie Charlie was a viral marketing scheme. People seem to think that the marketing team behind the movie The Gallows created the challenge to market their movie. Snopes stepped up and did some background research and found that early examples of the challenge predated the movie and its marketing. However, the idea that the Gallows co-opted the viral spookfest and used it smartly to promote their product isn't too far-fetched. How many of these have you personally experienced? Did you ever believe in any of these? No judgment. What's your favorite online myth? Make sure you let me know down in the comments. Speaking of comments, let's take a look at some of your more acrid ones from the top 5 scary internet urban legends part 1. Ben Trimble says, "I've got an internet urban legend saying first actually counts for anything." You say that, but have you ever been to the home of a first commenter? They've got trophies lining the walls for every comment they score. It's actually kind of impressive. Draven Gal says, to be fair, there were crazies dressed up like actual clowns scaring people. Oh, absolutely, I just think it was more of a self-fulfilling prophecy than anything, and their murderous tendencies were overstated to say the least. Jessica Lee says, does anyone else think Keegan is starting to look like White Goodman in Dodgeball? Nobody makes me bleed my own blood. Nobody. Jonathan Rawls says, looks like somebody is putting points into their stash stat. I'm doing my best to min-max for stash DPS, but honestly, I'm not too great at it. And Randist says, the true horror of the internet, soccer moms. They've been around since time immemorial, always lurking in the shadows, waiting for the right time to strike and ruin someone's life for disagreeing with them. And that's all the time we have for today. Before I violently rock a vending machine with a snack stuck in it, make sure you give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe for more modern myths. Big shoutouts to Snopes.com for all the facts and figures. If you love debunking things, go to Snopes. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.